Hey there, and welcome to Story Demon with David C. Hoke. I am your host, and we are coming to you from the newly named Metro West Studios. We're going to have a thing that says Metro West here pretty soon, but we didn't have it ready in time for this show. But anyway, Metro West, if you're a Robocop fan, you'll know what that means. If you don't, go find out. Worth a Google. I'm a Robocop fan, as you can see from some of the stuff in the background. Anyway, I wanted to do a part two to the rule of three. If you watch the rule of three video, thank you for watching. And I wanted to put it in action. So I wanted you to see tangibly the rule of threes in work, working for you and how you can actually do it. It's an exercise that you can actually do. It's not just theory. A lot of times videos, people will tell you how to do something and they tell you how, but they don't tell you how. Like I wanted to show you literally how to use the rule of threes to make a story. So I did a video. It's fairly quick. I skip a lot of things, a lot of nuances. I kind of skipped over, but for the purposes of brevity and to make the video not forever long. It's right here. Take a look. Tell me what you think and below in the comments and enjoy. Hope it works for you. Okay, we talked about the rule of threes, but I wanted to put it in action so you'd actually see it. So it wouldn't just be a bunch of talk. It'd be something you actually see. It's an actual exercise, something you can tangibly do. So we did a scenario on the fly, so I was going to expand on it. So I started with the idea of a hospital. Hopefully you can see my handwriting, which is not very good. Hallway. And a nurse pushing a gurney. So 1, 2, 3, we got these things I did. And then we said, well, let's take the nurse. And we said she works in the morgue. And she is going to go pick a body from a hearse. And the body is a priest. And so then the priest is a gangster friend. He hung out and he was murdered. What else? He was well loved in the community. He wasn't a quiet, he was a known person. So we started with an idea of hospital hallway with a nurse pushing a gurney, and we took that nurse. We said 1, 2, 3. She's going to the she actually going to the pick up a body in her. She's taking the morgue where she works. The body is that of a priest. So you have who, what, and everything else. So gangster, the priest himself is a gangster friend. He was murdered, and he was a well loved priest. So we already went from an idea to now we got some kind of a bit of a plot. So who's going to investigate a murder of a priest? Well, that'd be a cop. So who is this? Who is this cop? Let's just say he's Catholic himself, and he has a secret. So now we got a story here. Well, I think our story is probably going to be this cop because the nurse is going to have much to do after doing her job. The priest is already dead, so let's follow this cop somewhere. All right. So, what is this secret? Or well, tell me more about this cop. Other than we have a cop, he's Catholic, and he has a secret. Is he married? Let's just say he's. Because we want drama, so he's separated. Maybe something about his personality. He's abrasive. And what else? He's separated, abrasive. What else could we do? What's a physical characteristic or whatever? Maybe he has a scar. Maybe he has a scar on his side. All right. So he's investigating this priest and the death. So he's going to look into the gangsters. So does he have a history of the gangster? Let's just say he does. He has history of the gangsters. He's probably maybe he has a beef with the Catholic Church. What else? The history of the gangsters. Got beef with the Catholic Church, but he's putting this investigation, so he doesn't like either party. Maybe. And what else about this guy? Maybe there's been several complaints about him in the force, or complaints from like arrest subjects. Maybe he's too abusive or whatever. So why would so now we're into the gangsters and we got the church and we got history. So why would the priest be murdered? Well, if he hung out with gangsters, there's a good chance they're involved. So maybe the priest had a beef with a gangster. Maybe that gangster is an enemy of the cop. I know my handwriting's terrible. So the priest is a beef with the gangster. The gangster is his cop's enemy. But obviously that gangster is going to be the prime suspect. But there's no evidence. So he has a conflict with the guy, but he has no evidence on the guy. And just for our exercise here, I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit. And maybe when it's all said and done, we get to the fact that the priest abused both gangster and cop. Maybe they conspire to hide it, the murder, because they feel like it's just. So he gets like a backwards weird justice with this gangster he has an unlikely relationship with, and maybe on the personal side, his marriage ends because she can't handle his secrecy, because he can't fess up and tell her that he was abused, and that's why he has like so much guard up. In the end of the movie, his marriage ends, but he reaches some sort of a peace and closure with the priest being gone and letting the gangster go. Kind of like what was that movie with Brad Pitt, and they got the abuse of Kevin Bacon, the abuse of prison guard, something like that. So by sticking with the rule of threes, we did a hospital hallway, a nurse pushing a gurney. Then we took the nurse and we wrote three things about her. She works in the morgue. She had to go to the body, and the body was of a priest. And then we created three new things for the priest. The priest was the gangster's friend. He was murdered, but he was well loved. The cop investigated it, so we bring in a cop, and he's a Catholic, and he has a secret. And then that cop, his own life, he's abrasive personality. He's separated from his wife. He has a scar on his side. My thinking is maybe that in some weird abusiveness that the priest scarred him, kind of like Jesus being pierced on the side, some sort of weird abuse. Then the history with the gangs. So that cop then has a history of the gangsters. The gangster. Oh yeah, this is where I tell you about the cop having a beef with the Catholic Church, and the cop has many complaints about him. And then now back to the gangsters. The priest also had a beef with a certain gangster, but that same gangster was the cop's enemy. But there's no evidence that can get him connected to the murder. And then skipping fast forward for our exercise, we find out the priest abused both the cop and the gangster, and then the two conspired to hide the murder, but his marriage ultimately is doomed. So it reaches a weird closure, though we can't say it's marriage. So a lot of drama. There's a lot of heavy drama here. But we got there. We went from a simple visual premise to we got a pretty heavy movie or book or whatever. So just by sticking to the rule of threes, keeping up with creating 3 new elements. Now there's a whole bunch of nuance to what I did, but I wanted you to see the threes in action. Who are they? What are they doing? Why are they doing it? Keep staying with those questions: who, what, where, when, how, or why. All those questions. If you stick to those, if you always pursue 3, you can come up with a story pretty good. Is this the greatest story ever? I don't know. It's just an idea I made up here for the video, but this is just an exercise to show you how to do it. So hopefully that will help you. All right. So that was the rule of threes in action. Thank you for watching that, and I hope it helps you. Just remember, if you get stuck, who are they? What are they doing? Why are they doing it? Write those 3. Always think of 3 points. And if you get those 3 points together, you can always progress further. So if you have an idea in your head of just it's a bit razor thin, you need to make it into a full-fledged story. That's the best way I know how to do it. Use the rule of threes. If you learn one lesson about storytelling, learn the rule of threes. Make sure you click subscribe and all the fucking stuff that people tell you to do.